I'm an engineer, but my engineering degree is sort of dusting somewhere down in my attic. I'm basically, I've spent almost 22 years of my career in marketing, largely. Yeah, now AI, why AI? Because AI is just, AI is a passion for me. So that's the way I look at AI personally. Now, got a good opportunity to work on self-care, and I'll just come in a moment to explaining what self-care is for us. And we believe that AI can literally change the game over there. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about what I think are the possibilities and some understanding or some examples that I've seen of AI being used to promote the cause of self-care. But first, it's important for you guys to understand what is self-care, yeah, and what do I mean by self-care and how is it relevant for every single one of us. So we are all a country of dreamers, yeah, that's what we are. We have dreams of, doing well in life, etc., etc. So we are dream rich, but we are also health poor. I mean, all of us know that in this country, there is one doctor for 2,000 people. These are some of the things which make us very happy. We all know that there are many Indian origin CEOs now who are heading some of the world's biggest companies. In the value, so this particular slide, this particular chart, what it tells you is that the biggest value that Indians seek is the value of achievers. So that's what for us defines whether a person is successful or not. We earn more than what we used to earn a few years back. We have many multi-crore Indian businesses that have started out of small shops. So essentially doing better in life, yeah, that's what all of us, I don't think anybody here in this room would think differently. Doing better in life, enhancing my life standards, progress from my yesterday is what drives all of us today and probably in the past as well. Another truth, we are also a nation of the most workaholics, okay? This is a slide which tells you which countries do people put in 60-hour weeks, essentially. And India is normally amongst the top 3 or the top 4. Imagine with the kind of scale that we have, with the number of people that we have, even then, as a percentage, we are amongst the top 3 or 4 nations with the most workaholics. Yeah, we are also the people who are the most skeptical of taking leaves. We are also the people who will work in our vacations. All of us, or a lot of us would be working in multinational companies where we have clients abroad, or we have teams abroad. I would challenge you guys to tell me that those guys are okay with working on weekends or are okay with working on their own vacation. Yeah, that doesn't happen. It is only us. We will work on Diwali, we will work on New Year's, we will work on Onam, we will work on Eid, we will definitely work on Saturdays and Sundays. So that's how we are structured. That's how our DNA is essentially, that we have to go ahead in life. Yeah, that's the main thing for us. So as a result, we are the most workaholic, one of the most workaholic nations in the world. And like I said, we are the ones who are open to working on holidays, etc. Now your body and the body of the person who's, let's say, staying abroad, sitting abroad, is structured in the same way. Neither of our bodies are conditioned for this kind of working. And so what happens to you is that your health takes a big suffering. Now this slide, the number which you can't see very clearly, basically what it says is that almost 100% of us, 90% of us, including the people in this room, have had at least one aspect of unwellness in the last 1 month. Just think about it yourself. In the last 1 month, has there been at least one aspect where you felt slightly unwell? Either you had a headache, or you had a bad cold, or you had a bad cough. At least one you would be able to find. And trust me, this is only with Indians largely. It doesn't happen across the world that you will have at least one particular bout of unwellness. And what that results in, and these are numbers which have not come from me, these are numbers from a journal called Lancet. Lancet is a very reputed journal, like a healthcare journal, and what it says is that the average Indian's peak productive year, which is basically between the age of 24 to 60, okay, what is the, when you are sort of at the peak of your working and all, how many years are actually going in work per se? That is only 7. So you may think that 24 to 60 is, I'm working for 36 years. Your actual peak productive year is only 7. Yeah, which is half of China. And if I show you the full table, we are lower than Pakistan, we are lower than Bangladesh, we are lower than Sri Lanka. In South Asia, the only country that we are better than is, one guess, which is the country left? Afghanistan. That's the only country. that we have witnessed. So our peak productive years are again amongst the lowest. And all of this is because of what I just told you. And that's where self-care comes into the picture. That's what self-care can help you sort of bridge the gap. So what is self-care? How WHO, or the World Health Organization, defines self-care? It's just a decision-making process where you can take care of your own health. All of you guys can take care of your own health without going to a doctor or without going to somebody who has healthcare information. Yeah, so all the things that you do, your daily workout, following healthy routine, following healthy diet, meditation, all of that comes into self-care or wellness, yeah? Now, why is self-care so critical for India? All of us are aware of what happened during COVID in India. All of us are aware of wave 2 of COVID. What happened? We didn't have enough doctors. Why didn't we have enough? At the same situation is today as well. Yeah, we don't have enough doctors. If people are able to use self-care properly, then they would not have to go to GPs and CPs more often. I mean, then they won't have to go to too many doctors, and hence those doctors would then be able to spend more time on slightly more serious diseases, and not on your cough cold or on a simple fever, etc. You know, those kind of things and all. So, if you have self-care as a big aspect of your overall healthcare system, it puts less pressure on the primary care, on the primary healthcare, which is what we call, the whole system. So, and the other thing is, like I said, your peak productive period, all of that which eventually contributes to the economic productivity of a country, that goes up. If your peak productive period goes up from 7 years to 7.7 years, that is the impact you can have on the overall GDP of the nation. Imagine the Indian GDP increasing by 10%. Yeah, imagine the impact. That's the economic benefit of self-care, and that's why self-care is so important. Now, I'm giving you so much gyan on self-care, then why don't we practice self-care? Yeah, that can be the question, that why don't most Indians practice self-care too much, despite, why do you, when you have a headache, or when you have a cough, or you have a cold, why don't you do anything about it? Well, the first basic issue is a lack of awareness. Yeah, you just ignore it and move on with life. You don't think about its repercussions. Yeah, or you don't have the knowledge. How do I take care of my cough? How do I know whether the cold I have is because of is it allergy issue, or is it just a normal cold? How do I know that? So I don't have that knowledge. Yeah, and hence you don't have proper understanding regarding self-care. Today, if you have a serious headache or a serious body ache anywhere, what is your first source of information? What is the first source of information? Yeah, knowledge coming from the current source, which is Google, only adds to your confusion. Okay, in Google, from a minor diet skipping to a minor stomach ache to a headache will lead you to either a stomach cancer or prostate cancer or throat cancer, okay, or a big kidney issue. Okay, because it doesn't know what your actual symptom, it is basically just giving you what it has available. So that only adds to your confusion, and then what happens? You get scared. Okay, you are having some pain, you've seen it once that it seems to be very serious on Google. Next time you probably won't go. Then what do? You probably look at some WhatsApp advice, which is coming in. What did COVID WhatsApp groups do? How many people became doctors in our respective WhatsApp groups? Almost as many as the number of people who become international affairs experts after the Israel conflict. Everybody now is an international affairs expert. At that time, everybody was a doctor. Everybody was giving, from my grandmother and her friend to my neighbor and to my friend who's never studied biology in his own life. Everybody was a doctor. So you just get too much information, which is quite useless, actually. So that is this is all very opinion-based information. Yeah, and it's very impersonal, and hence it's unstructured. And you are not supposed to act on it. You are just supposed to know. That's just opinion-based information. So the big issue is, how do you bridge this awareness to knowledge to understanding gap? That is critical for people to self-care or to practice self-care. And I think, so if I were to just summarize, in terms of what are the big drivers to encourage self-care self-care for all, how do we democratize self-care? It is basically just 4 aspects, yeah? How do you make it easy to achieve through technology? Can you make wellness, okay, as a concept? If I tell you that, okay, you have to start practicing wellness, so you will say, what the hell is wellness? And you start thinking of very expensive yoga routines that I have to go through, or you have to go to some Vipassana centers. You start your mind starts conjuring up those images. But if I tell you it is very easy to achieve through technology, okay, it'll become simpler. Secondly, self-care is all about anticipation. It is all about what we call proactive health. You know, you shouldn't control your diet after your doctor tells you have a cholesterol issue, or you have high cholesterol, or you have high triglycerides, or your bad cholesterol is slightly higher, or your good cholesterol is slightly low. That is not self-care. That you are reacting to what is happening. You should try, self-care is all about proactivity. How can I control my diet, okay, proactively? How can I do the good things for my body proactively? So getting consumers to anticipate instead of just reacting is the other driver, big driver to encourage self-care. Probably the most important driver in India, in our country. Accessibility of health and wellness. If you go to a village right now, if you go to the rural consumers right now, or even semi-urban consumers, you start talking to them about the concept of health and wellness. They will say, I don't have money to eat. Okay, you are getting me into practicing very expensive concepts of health and wellness. So how do we get health and wellness accessible for the masses, and not just for the urban guys, not just for the rich who can afford? That is probably the most important driver in a country. And last but not the least, the importance of mental wellness. Okay, when we think about, most of us, when we think about health and wellness, we only think about our body, physical wellness, you know, how fast can I run, how much stamina do I have, you know, whether I have a tummy or don't have a tummy. You don't think about mental wellness, yeah, which is another very, very important issue, yeah. So driving the importance of mental wellness. So these are the 4 key drivers, and I believe, and we believe that AI can be one of the unifying forces which can actually cover all of these 4. So what I'm going to be presenting and going to be talking about are largely areas in which AI has already made an impact. So you know, apps or products which are already available, or potential which is there. So like I said, accessibility of health and wellness, this is one of the key drivers. How do we make it accessible? Now, voice-driven health interactions can be one very important part over here. Now, okay, so don't read what's written here, I'm just going to talk to you about it. All of us know that there are almost, 450 to 500 million smartphones in India? Close to 400 million. Does anyone know how many dumb phones there are in India? Non-smartphones? Take a guess. 100? How much? Yeah, about 100, 150, 200 million. There are still 400 million dumb phones, or non-smartphones, whatever you want to call it, in India. People only talk about smartphones. Nobody talks about the dumb phones. Why? Because it's very difficult to reach out to those guys. Now, that is where the heart of India still resides. These are the people who we have to bring up if we have to, you know, how do we make health and wellness important for them? So I'll give you the example, I'll give you one example of something that we have developed at Bayer. So we've said that, look, your objective, can you convert a dumb phone into a healthcare device? How do you take his dumb phone and without asking him to upgrade to a smartphone, how do you do that? And the only way to do that is to use voice, right? So voice-driven health interaction, or voice, can actually be a very, very important thing to drive accessibility. What we have done, for example, we have a brand called Saridon, which is a head pain brand. We've delivered this. We've created this app called Saridon Arampur, so which we have just rolled out in small towns of UP. So we are just doing a pilot on it. We are rolling it out in small towns of UP. Now it is basically a voice AI-based solution which is meant for people with dumb phones. Essentially what you do is that you give a missed call. I mean, you basically call a number, and the number calls you back, and the basis of your voice, it asks you questions in regional language, and you just give answers. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Like that. So it's just a entirely voice-based system, very easy to access. So that can be one way of driving accessibility, which is using voice. The other important thing with voice is that when you're talking to a device, yeah, unless you are a tech geek like all of us, okay, speaking to a device is very, very sort of human. It's more human than typing into a device. If you're talking to a device, it's more human, it's more organic than simply typing to it, typing into it. Now, this can increase, if you have a health app, which is based on voice, where you don't have to type for a certain number of people, for a lot of people, it can actually lead to greater adherence to the health apps and devices, because users will find it more engaging. So for example, a very this is a very bad example, but you'll get the picture. It's a very stressed individual if they have an Alexa, can quickly ask Alexa, play a 5-minute relaxation meditation or play a 5-minute relaxation music for me without having to navigate through multiple menus, essentially. Because at that point in time, you don't want to go through menus, right? Then the other thing with voice-driven health interaction is that they can give you real-time feedback in moments of when you have a panic attack or if somebody is anxiety prone. In moments of anxiety, a user can simply ask Siri, if you have a smartphone, to guide them. What do I do? What am I supposed to do? So voice assistants can offer very quick response, which is based on users' queries, giving very real-time health advice. So I think usage of voice is a very important part, or can become extremely important to drive accessibility of health and wellness, especially amongst people who are not very confident of technology or who don't want to use technology too much. Yeah, the second point is, straight away through technology. How can we attain wellness through technologies? For example, the intersection of AI and self-care. Now, your algorithms, AI algorithms, if they absorb and analyze users' data, etc., behaviors, they can actually they can give recommendation which is based on very unique Indian demographics and very unique Indian behavior and cultural nuances. For example, all of us are aware of the Goki, right? The Goki offers it offers you personalized fitness recommendation. Yeah, using AI, the platform can now use. So, for example, most of the fitness regimens which are offered, they have a very standard workout that you're supposed to do brisk walking for 45 minutes every day. You're supposed to run. So, the point is, if I'm somebody who doesn't like running, or if I'm somebody who doesn't like walking too much, or he finds walking boring, but I'm into dance, let's say, or I like Zumba, for example, okay, or just dance itself. Your Goki app can actually tell you a dance-based workout. So that's the level of personalization that an AI-driven app can provide you. And in the Indian cultural nuance, that can be a big game changer. So the whole adaptive learning can bring this kind of a change. Another important thing, your self-care evolves based on your need stage. Yeah, as you grow older, your self-care needs evolve. So, for example, you have a lot of these pregnancy apps, which basically, give you a complete self-care routine based from your first trimester to the entire postpartum stage, right? So your routine can be basis your life stage. If you're whether between a 25 to a 30-year-old, okay, and when you turn 35 plus, which is when your life starts sort of plateauing, or your fitness starts plateauing and all, your self-care need in both these stages is very different. For women, when they hit menopause, your self-care needs are very different from what they were prior to that. Your nutrition needs are very different in each of these. So your self-care needs keep evolving basis your life stage itself. So you have, all of your wellness routines will also need to shift. Yeah, and again, that's where AI plays an app. Then you have data-driven decisions which can be tailored for India. So because, so for example, all of you are aware of Healthify Me, right? All of you are aware of Healthify Me. So again, developed in India, it can provide diet plans which is based on local cuisine. So using AI, it can suggest healthier versions of what you are eating, of your traditional meal itself. Like for example, I found this interesting that it was giving me the option of, I like dosas for breakfast normally, so it was asking me to use a millet dosa instead of having a standard rice dosa. Okay, so an app developed in India can take care of the Indian cultural nuances and understanding what it is that I like to eat for my breakfast. It can give me a recommendation which is a healthier form of what I'm going to be eating. So again, data-driven decisions which are tailored for a country. And the last point here is very interesting one, which is, given that we have so much diversity in a country, we have so much diversity, how can you personalize at this kind of a scale? So the fact that we have many population cohorts across India, it demands health solutions that cater to varying regional, linguistic, and cultural preferences. Yeah, so for example, and these apps are all available already, which is an AI-driven meditation app, may offer you guided sessions in regional languages. It's a big game changer, trust me, between having a meditation app only in English to having a meditation app in Gujarati or in Tamil okay, or in Bengali. It's a game changer, absolute game changer, and especially for the slightly more senior citizens, yeah, who may not be very conversant with the language, or again, in the semi-urban area, people who are not very conversant with English itself. So those are the areas in which AI can help a lot. And the other thing, your AI app, sometimes they can actually give you meditation practice basis your individual stress symptoms, how stressed you are. On the basis of that also it can guide you with meditation apps which are different. The third driver, which is, like I was talking about, the whole anticipation game. How can you anticipate? You know, how can you be a proactive self-care, proponent? So the entire predictive angle comes into the picture. You know, which other technology, what is the other way to do predictive health monitoring other than, using real-time data? Yeah, we are all, I'm sure all of us are, I don't think anybody is wearing a dumb watch over here. All of us are wearing the smartwatches here. I found this very interesting. I don't know if somebody from there is here in this audience also, but I found this very interesting startup called CardioTrack. So there's an app, there's an Indian startup called CardioTrack. What CardioTrack does is that it uses AI to interpret your ECG data in real time. And this is very, very important for places where cardiologists are scarce. Yeah, for outside, about 100 kilometers outside, not Bangalore, Bangalore 100 kilometers outside is not very urban, but in other parts of India, where 100 kilometers outside your city or 200 kilometers, you don't find cardiologists. You find a general physician, you find a GP, you find a consulting physician. You don't find a cardiologist. Now imagine the role that an app like this can make, yeah, where it can essentially track, interpret your ECG data in absolute real time, ensuring very timely diagnosis of your heart conditions. All of us have heard of that, the famous Apple Watch example. We keep getting a lot of these Apple Watch examples where the Apple Watch prevented some heart attack, etc., by giving the right information. So an anomaly detection in the Indian context, essentially, you have a bunch of standard health parameters. Yeah, if you track, your smartwatch tracks it, various other apps track it. Now the issue is, how many of those are actually able to detect a change in any of those parameters? So you have sleep patterns, your heart rate patterns, your pulse pattern, multiple things. The game changes if your app is able to detect that anomaly, that slight blip, which is literally the bridge between acting on time and not acting on time. If you're having, now I don't want to, this is a room full of young people. I don't want to act very morbid and you guys have to go for lunch right after the session. But imagine this scenario where you have a certain anomaly in your pulse and your watch is not able to detect it, or the app that you are using for your health conditions is not able to detect it. I know people slightly older than you guys who had these issues where timely detection has actually saved their lives. Yeah, sometimes when you're having a heart attack, you're not able to even figure out that you're actually having a heart attack. Okay, it is a very normal condition. You just start sweating a little bit more. You start having a little bit of pain in your chest, which you may think that it's just a normal pain. But your app can track it, and it can tell you that there's an anomaly here. Yeah, so those kind of, that's the critical part. That's the real game change. That's the real difference between life and death, literally. India is also the diabetes capital of India. Maximum diabetics live in India. There's this very interesting app called Beat-O. I don't know how many of you have heard of it, but basically they monitor your blood glucose levels. Yeah, so the AI can flag anomalies in your blood glucose levels, which can basically, tell you how to take timely action on your diet and all. Yeah, and like I just spoke about the whole adaptive feedback for very diverse Indian audience. So you need feedback which is culturally relevant and regionally specific, which is very easy to do using the various nutrition apps. Now the challenge is, how do you integrate all of this? So what is an integrative health analysis basis all this tracking which is happening? How do I get the real picture? So you can have you do have an app which integrates data from your, for something as diverse as if you're going through some Ayurvedic treatment, yeah, or your regular dietary log to your yoga routine and your modern prescription. It can actually combine all of this and give you a comprehensive health perspective. You have many such apps right now available. Some of them are not Indian apps, but you have a lot of these apps available which can give you a complete health analysis. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't want, the idea is not to confuse the people, that one app is giving this, one app is giving that. He just wants to know, or he or she wants to know, what is the complete picture, where am I facing some challenges? So integrative health analytics is required for that. And my favorite topic always, the mental health and wellness issue. Now, unfortunately, there is not that much work which has happened here in AI, but NLP has a very, very important role to play over there. You have, there's an app in the US and also available in Europe, which is called Wearable. So basically, these are conversational therapy bots. Typically, what they do is that when you talk to them, they are able to judge by your voice what is your stress level. Yeah, and it is in the US, it is actually registered as a medical device for treatment of people who have anxiety disorders. Okay, so you don't, when you go to a doctor, a lot of time doctors will just prescribe you talking to this bot, this conversational bot, and say that this is all that you have to do, you don't need to take any medication. So that's the level of advancement which has happened in conversational therapy bots in the space of mental wellness and all, yeah? And like I said, I mean, emotional analysis and NLP technology can easily identify your emotional undertones in a user's voice, making it very important. And the interesting part is, bases your local language or bases your local dialect, also it can understand what you're going through. You don't have to, I mean, one of the big challenges I remember we faced, all of us faced when Alexa was launched in India. We couldn't talk to Alexa, right? Because we had to talk to it in that American English, yeah, which was very difficult. But now that whole game has changed. And of course, real-time support, which I just spoke to you about, which is immediate AI-driven interaction during stress moments, where you can actually get your Alexa or your Siri to talk to you. Yeah, and my last part, which is nutrition, customized nutrition plan. All of us, I'm sure, are already using it, or maybe would be using it soon. Your dietary pattern recognition, and then having a customized nutrition plan like that. Or intelligent meal planning using only, some of you may decide to turn vegan, or some of you may say that I don't eat garlic, I don't eat onion. So you can have a diet plan, basis Indian ingredients with the kind of ingredient that you want it to be made. And again, very adaptive recipes for diverse Indian tastes. So AI-powered, I think this particular part, which is AI-powered nutritional plan, is the most well-developed. And there are many, many apps in India which are doing exactly that. Yeah, so these are the big game changers and very important one for our country going forward, yeah? So that's it. I think the only, in conclusion, what I really want to say on this big slide, which has too much text, while AI is definitely a technology that we need to adapt, I think the real value is not in the shift to technology, yeah? The real value is in the human-centric approach it facilitates. The fact that AI technology gives me something which is catered to my taste, which is meant only for me, which is taking care of my issues, which is taking care of my problems. Or it can be so responsive that I don't need to stand in a doctor's queue to understand with my reports and say, tell me what's wrong with me. That is what the AI and the entire technological shift is giving us. So it is personalized to you, it is accessible to you, and it helps you with anticipatory wellness. That's the big thing as far as I'm concerned over there. So I think the individual's ability to adapt and ensure that their self-care evolves in tandem with their current life stage needs is what only AI and only technology can provide. So technology is the big gap that can change the dreams, the dreamers that we have, the status of our dreams, which is very big, and the status of the health that we have, which is very poor. The big bridge is technology, and that's what I'm all about. Thank you so much. Yeah, any questions? Please keep them easy. Yeah, sure. I think the person.
So I was very interested about the point you had mentioned about NLP for mental health. You're right, there's not a lot of it happening in India. There's Wobot, Visa outside in the US, which have gained traction. But do you think the primary reason why it hasn't taken off in India is probably due to the restrictions on the data or the lack of data sharing for mental health, something as sensitive as that? Or is it just a attitudinal problem? I mean, like, how do you define that?
See, I think given that US probably has the most stringent privacy laws. I mean, you and I are both aware. So US has the most stringent privacy laws, right? Yeah. And despite that, they have something like a robot available over there. So I don't think it is that. I think it is more of an understanding or a need in India about how important something like this is. I think it is just a matter of time that people get more, as they get more aware about the importance of mental health and wellness. Something like this is going to come in India. I think if somebody launches a equivalent of that in India, it will be really big because it is so personal. The big issue with mental health is that people don't want to talk to your friend about it, right? You just want to keep it to yourself. They don't want to go to a doctor because they think they're going to a Pagalonga doctor. All those things are still there in our mind. Imagine an app which is only talking to you, only taking care of you, not divulging anything to anyone. So it can be really big. It is only a matter of time. Currently, it is because of a lack of awareness in India about importance of health. It's got nothing to do with data privacy law. That's my view. Yeah.
Hi, Sandeep.
Yeah, hi.
Nice. Thanks for all this presentation. Nice to see. And really looking forward how it is going to help. My one pivotal question is, when I was, I can say, I was suffering from corona that time. You can't go to hospitals and things around that, right? So I was being asked, to stay at home and other things. See, there is one part is treatment, medicines.
Yeah.
Other part is empathy. And when you go to a doctor, there is empathy given. In his eyes, you can see the confidence that, yes, you will go well, or he can tell you, you need to change your way to go well, right? How do you put that part of empathy? Because I have seen myself, medicines can do good, but you can only get cured if both of the things are there in place. So how do you see that coming up as part of the technology?
No, that's a wonderful question. And there is no replacement of human interaction. There is no replacement of going to a doctor, either available now or available in the future. That is just not possible. The only thing you can do is try and bridge the gap. How close can you come? And that is why I was talking about voice AI. When you talk, it's a little bit more personal versus when you are typing, for a lot of people. So there is, to answer your question, yes, it is critical to go to a doctor often, but the point is, often you don't need to go there. Yeah, so it saves a lot of time for you. It saves a lot of time for the doctor. His time is then utilized for seriously, for other people who are seriously ill. The idea that I don't see AI replacing a doctor, ever, ever, ever. That's not going to happen. The idea is, how can you reduce the situations in which you have to go to a doctor? That is what proactive health is all about. When you're going to a doctor, that is reactive health, right? Because you have those issues, that's why you're going to a doctor. That will never get replaced by AI. Technology can help the doctor, yes. That's a separate chapter altogether. How is it helping the doctor? Like the ECG machine that I was talking to you about. That's a different thing. But AI and personal interaction can never be duplicated through technology. That is very difficult.
It's great to hear. Sorry, do I have a luxury for
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay.
It's only me between them and the lunch, basically. So go ahead.
Sorry
ahead.
to hold you.
No.
I'm not hungry, sorry. So, many a times when somebody is diagnosed with, let's say, very critical diseases, okay, border cases separate, but even with the standard cases, like, what is the trace back? When you put this to LLMs, NLPs, neural networks, deep neural networks, RNNs, it's good, but you can't trace it back. How do you reach to that result? So is that kind of a traceability you're identifying and achieving?
See, you can only with this. If you are not using technology, then there is zero traceability. Okay, if you were just relying on what your friend was telling, what your group was telling you to do, then anyways there's no traceability of what you have done till now, what have been your symptoms. If you're using technology, then at least there is some traceability of what had you fed in that app, and hence basis that what did it offer and what did you do. So there is definitely a greater amount of traceability when you're using technology. Then when you are not using any technology at all, having said that, there is still a lot of work to be done on that. I completely agree with you. There is a lot of work to be still required to be done on that. I think people are right now more focusing on the front end part and not sort of connecting the dot back. Completely agree.
Thank you.
So, thanks for the wonderful
Yeah, sorry.
presentation. I'm Karthik.
Yeah, yeah.
Karthik.
Hi.
Sir, is there a app which wholeheartedly covers all the aspects, no? Health, diet, cardio, kind of stuff? Or there is not a market for this, or why is it not?
See, I think so that's again $1 million question. So you do have the Healthify Me's of the world,
Yes.
which are there, but they are
Yes.
not 100%. I mean, they don't cover 100%.
Yes.
I think even globally, I haven't seen any such app which covers everything to the T.
Yes.
That is also because there are a lot of restrictions and boundaries that you can't go into, that technology can't go into without the convergence of doctors, without the acceptance of the doctors. You know because when you're trying to go 100%, then you have to slightly start going into the critical care part also.
Okay.
It is not just about proactive health. It is also about when my heart has a cholesterol issue, then what am I going to do? Right now, apps do not go into that area because that's typically the doctor's area. So you have to be
But
very
it
clear of
can-
the boundaries.
But it can cover, let's say, a diet one part.
No,
and
so that they will still remain at they will not give you they'll not give you prescriptions. They will only give you things which are good to do. And they will always tell you, if this is condition persists, please talk to the doctor. So there are those boundaries, which is what is preventing the 360. See, once the doctors also get into the picture, that's what I was saying. When the doctors start using their technology, and then this can be tracked back, then it will become a complete ego. That's like that's the destination, end goal. Right now,
They are at the beginning
advancements in the doctor's area are happening separately, and in the self-care area are happening separately. So somebody has to bridge the two to get to what you are asking for, basically. But that is very difficult to do in the world that we are living in.
Okay.
Hi Sandeep.
Yeah, hi.
This is Sai Krishna from Tibble Solutions.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. So my question is, and I think kindly relevant to my fellow delegate. So how to address the black box problem that comes, like say, say the complex data models, like say deep neural networks, will offer some decisions which cannot decide the rationale behind their decision. So how can a patient or healthcare professionals can trust it, because it's that deep that I mean even the data science system cannot decide on why is it
Completely.
giving this. And apart from that, another question is the regulations that has to be made in India to go ahead with all these applications. I think that also has to be defined. What's your take on it?
I think you answered in the question itself. I think, and like I was explaining to the gentleman here, Karthik, right? I was explaining to Karthik just now. See, right now you don't rely on these apps or this technology making critical care decisions for you. You do not. The simple answer is yes, you do not rely, because you're not 100% clear on what is the basis it has used to. You can't track the decision making tool, right? So you don't. That is why I'm only talking about self-care. I'm only talking about things taking care. I'm only talking about the path you need to take to prevent you to go there. That is all that the focus should be on. What you are talking about is a completely different science. How can technology help doctors? That is what that area is about. Okay, which is way deeper into technology. And I think that's what Karthik was also asking. How do you connect the two? Right now, there is no connect between the. There is a mild connect, but there's no clear connection. And regulations, you're absolutely right. I think regulations right now are, I won't say they are nebulous, but I think they need to be made clearer, a little bit more clearer about what are the things that self-care apps can talk about and what are the things that self-care apps cannot talk about. What the self-care apps currently do is that they stay very far away, especially in India, from prescribing anything, so that they are completely on the right side of the regulatory affairs. But if they are made transparent and very clear, then there'll be more clarity from both sides, actually. And the consumers and the patients will also be clearer on what can I rely upon and what I can't rely upon.
Yeah. Thank you.
One question.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Thank you for a great session.
Thank you.
A little different question. So I just wanted to understand, can you share a personal experience where you can talk about, okay, this was my life earlier, then I adopted this and you see few things improving, or some insights, maybe.
So I think so. I was talking about Healthify Me. So at least for me, during Corona times, Healthify Me was a big game changer, and not just for me personally, but we put our entire team through the Healthify Me. We took the Healthify Me challenge. So this was the Corona time when you were not allowed to go out, you're not allowed to walk. Healthify Me actually put together a workout plan which you can do from home. They put together a diet plan with ingredients which are very basic because you couldn't go and buy a lot of the fresh stuff. So they actually literally personalized and gave us something which was very Corona-centric or Corona-specific, and they converted it into a challenge, like a 60-day challenge, with points for every single person. So we had about 1,000 people in our company, and we made teams of 6 for each. So basically, then there was a tracking which was done every week. Which team has the highest? How many glasses of water have you drunk in a day? You had to go on the app and say, I've drunk this much. So they made it like a competition, and it was like a almost 60-day kind of a thing. And it dramatically changed the way, because I said that first my company has to do self-care before I profess to the rest of the world. So that is how I try to incorporate something like this. I'm doing good advertising for Healthify Me here. But yeah, so that is one personal experience that I can share, basically. Yeah. Okay, one last question.
Thank you, Sandeep. It's really insightful. Myself, Shyam Kumar Munda, I'm in life sciences itself. One thing I always have a question that when you spoke about these apps and all, what is your take, or can you throw some light on the accuracy of this information?
On the?
Accuracy of the information which
Accuracy.
is throws, because one point you mentioned during the discussion about the anomaly detection, right?
Yeah.
The anomaly could be because of your diabetic sugar level high, or anomaly could be the heart rate, or it could be that anomaly of the device issue itself.
Correct.
So kind of, what is your take on that? How to kind of ensure that, okay, this is more accurate, and based on that anomaly, the patient, the customer, who can go to the doctor and say that, okay, I found this is in my tracking, is it relevant or not?
See, that is, so again, you sort of answered the question in your last statement. The whole point of an anomaly detection app on your watch or whatever it is to just alert you. Okay, after that, it's on you to decide whether it is because of the phone your watch not working properly. But it is always better to go and check than to decide internally that my watch kharab hai. My app is not working. So that is what it tells you. It just tells you there is an issue. Please go and check. Okay, so the easiest thing to do, then you can go and check with your doctor or whatever it is that you're taking. So I would not double guess too much on the data. Okay, especially if you are regularly seeing it. So I'm saying you would do your regular health checkups also, right? Once a year or at least once in 2 years and all. If your data is similar to what your apps are showing, then you can see that, okay, there's not much difference, basically. Okay, if you are coming out as a diabetic through your watch and not coming out as a diabetic through your blood test, then I would go with your blood test, for sure. But then you have to change the app or change the watch itself. So I would not double guess. I would definitely check up if an anomaly comes up, 100%, 101%. If an anomaly comes up, at least 50% of the time it would be right. Okay. Maybe 15% it's wrong. But instead of saying that this is the wrong 50% and hence I'll not check, better to go and check. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying that it's earlier you didn't have this, right? Earlier you would get to know once in 2 years. Now you have cancer markers. I mean, I'm not going to talk about cancer marker apps, but there are those which are coming up as well, going forward. So the game in healthcare overall is changing. And I think data will get more accurate. Right now it is not there. I completely agree with you there also. But better to check. Better to play safe than say sorry, as they say, right?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.